Good? Rested well? Ready for a big day? Awesome. I can't really hear you though. Just have to clarify. Are you ready for a big day? I only heard her bean. Are you ready? Get set, go. Awesome. Okay. So lovely to see beautiful smiling faces despite the cloud cover outside. Have you been staying at the hotel? Are you coming from outside or? Yeah, where? Gurugram. Okay. Yeah, but that's still kudos to you. I know. The worst ones are the ones who are staying in the hotel. Thank you. We have an amazing set of ladies to speak with us this morning, bright and early. We are talking about entrepreneurship and drive and women lifting women, and that's what matters. We are on day 2 of the Women Economic Forum 2019. Stuff like this doesn't happen every day, so let's hear it for you and I. Very warm, much-needed welcome is coming up for you as I introduce you to scintillating, colorful ladies and my beautiful Dr. Harbeen Aro. Yeah. Yes, perfect. For those of us who were Harbeen just reminded me, because we are in a state of this continuous flow, but for those of us who've just joined us, I'll give you a quick run through of what we did yesterday. We've been talking about, our theme of this weekend has been well-being, corporate wellness, and how we can transform leadership using that as a toolkit. So we've been unraveling a whole scaffolding and building a structure around wellness, how this inner and outer space of wellness, and when we create that as a sacred place to originate from, how that can heal the world. Because we realize that the word heal comes from the word whole. And that only can happen if you begin here at the heart space. And we spoke a lot yesterday about courage, also emanating from a place of heart, listening to the voice of the heart, listening to the voice of the inner guidance, and operating, letting that be your foundation and your roots to really emanate out from. So that's the conversation we're so excited to take forward as well today. And we are super, super excited for an enriching day ahead of us, and so grateful that you all could make it for this early morning session. And with that, I'd like to welcome our speakers for this morning. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome Srilata Vashisht. Srilata, if you're with us. If you're not, you'll be joining us in a few moments, yeah? Yeah, we'll wait a few moments, yes. We're very forgiving, like we said. Tripti, are you here already? Welcoming Tripti Singh Rathore. She's a social entrepreneur and an events curator. She is the founder of something very, very, very interesting. It's called Ghumar, Twist with Grace. Oh, my bad, sorry. Twirl with Grace. She's uplifting the Rajasthani folk tradition and bringing it to the world. We're in celebration of you.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much. Thank you so much.
Have a seat.
We also had a performing arts session yesterday.
Yes, we did.
With Sharon Lowen and
India with art. Indian at art.
Indian in art, yeah.
Oh, in art, yes. No pun intended. Yeah. If I could call upon Shalini Singh, if you're already with us, you're not. Poonam.
You are.
Ah, yes. There's a familiar sister in the house.
Bravo, Shalini.
Shalini is the founder of Galvanize PR and WeMet.com, inspiring.
It's a matchmaking platform.
Yes, but you explain it very beautifully, because you say it's a platform for responsible, committed relationships. Thank you so much. We welcome you. We need those, yes. We need the meaningful connections, and to remind you, that's what we're here for. So if you find yourself having a cup of coffee by yourself, that's not okay. Get company, make new sisters, get a new family, because that's what we're here for. Is Poonam here? Hi, Poonam. Poonam is the founder and director of Media Moments, an integrated marketing communications company. She's an entrepreneur, a pioneer, and a fashion enthusiast. That we can tell. Suchitra, welcoming the lovely Sucharita. Sucharita, okay, finally. Welcoming the ever-lovely Sucharita, the founder of Entrepreneur Ventures and My Bow Tree. It's an honor. Neha, welcoming Neha Kamboj. She's the founder of Nevada Brand Management and Consultancy Services, a social activist, and an influencer. Welcoming you, Neha. Sheetal. A warm welcome to Sheetal. Sheetal Badani, the founder of Loop Hoop, a dynamic professional with a decade of experience under her sari. Welcoming you. Yeah. We don't wear belts anymore. Would you prefer a hat belt or the diet is okay? It's fine? Okay, perfect. Women uplifting and uniting the world through entrepreneurship and drive. It's a conversation we can't wait to engage in. It's my pleasure to welcome our first speaker to share her journey with us. I welcome Sri Lata Vashisht, who's not here. I welcome Tripti Singh Rathore. Opening our day to... It's an honor.
Good morning. I'm excited and honored to be part of this gathering today. I've been following Women Economic Forum for quite some time, and I've been sharing that with Neha. And humbled that WEF has chosen to recognize me and my work as a part of this panel. The appreciation I received today is not mine alone. It's for all the women of substance who have made a mark on my life. Women such as my grandmother, who played competitive golf in a sari, and my mother, who was schooled at home because as the village noble's daughter, she couldn't go to the same school as everyone else. Growing up in Bikaner, Rajasthan was not just my home state, it was my world. My entire family was in and around Bikaner in Rajasthan. Those who had gone far from home were either in Jaipur or Udaipur. School trips, summer vacations, and family weddings. Nothing ever involved traveling out of the states. So when I did travel for the first time from my home states and then the country, I found my friends who became part of different journey I've been on. All those women said two words to me when I needed to hear the most: you matter. That's my dream and thought aren't just product of my imagination, that I have a shot of making them real, and that being a woman doesn't put me in any kind of disadvantage. I will continue to strive to prove them right. My work is centered around women and topics they care about the most. And I do believe that when women unite, we uplift not just ourselves, but the world. There's a research to show this. The highly acclaimed film, Girl Rising, shares data that proves a simple fact. When we educate a boy, we improve his life. But when we educate girl, an entire household has a shot of a better life. Because that's what we do. We organize, we strategize, we execute. we persist, we matter. A few years ago, I came face to face with a big idea to set up Ghumar Twirl with Grace, an event franchise that recreates the magic of Rajasthan for a selected gathering, where there were no performers, no audience, only participants. When we held our first event in Gurugram 3 years ago, I was overwhelmed by the response. What was planned as a one-day event became a month of rehearsals, sponsors' conversations, and event design. And soon enough, this idea traveled to different cities in India, that a traditional dance form could be a theme around which women could bond and network. Through this journey, I learned the fine art of balancing traditional and modernity, which is something that continues to guide my work for future. I still have some ground to cover before I can see myself as an entrepreneur, but I certainly see myself as someone who seeks to unite the world, one conversation at a time. Here's to the conversations we have today. Here's to all of us. Thank you.
And here's to you for celebrating the old and the new in the same breath, because that's what it takes. I think it takes a happy marriage of the tradition and the contemporary to really make it. I mean, we have to create our own formula and reinvent it as we go. I think that's our little secret from India, you know, that's how we have to take it forward, because otherwise we'll lose so much of our tradition. We have to just add a little flavor of today. If I could call upon Shalini Singh to speak with us, the founder of Galvanize PR and WeMet.com. And We Met.
Good morning, everybody. I've come from Bangalore for this, so thank you so much for having me over. I'm an accidental entrepreneur, if I may say so. I'm not someone who planned to be an entrepreneur. I've always worked all my life with multinationals as a communications executive. And then when I moved to Bangalore, I just saw all the startups sprucing up, and I'm really passionate about what I do, and so I decided to start Galvanize PR, and that's how it started. And We Met is, and Galvanize is a services company, and I can do it all in my sleep. And We Met is a product. I am not an engineer. I do not know anything about technology, as in how to build. Is it better?
Yes.
Okay, right. On how to build things. And so, but I believed in myself. I believed there was a need to bring back trust into online matchmaking. I took 5 years to research on it, and I launched it in January this year. It's been a okay, so it sounds fantastic to be an entrepreneur, but it's been a super tough journey. And I don't know if you'd all agree with it, or if there are more entrepreneurs around here. So there are more failures that you see than successes, but I guess that keeps you going. My role models are my parents, who've taught me never to give up, and always. So even if there is a challenge, so to try and figure out how to mend the challenge and move ahead versus cry over spilled milk. And that's what I've been doing all my life. I read impossible as I am possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Shalini, for that very succinct yet really meaningful sharing. I invite Poonam Prahlad to speak with us, the founder and director of Media Moments.
First of all, thank you. Thank you to my parents and my Guruji, Jai Guruji. You know, it's such a beautiful platform. You know, when I came to know about WEF and about Dr. Arora and the amount of effort to put this together, to build this platform, it's beautiful. I wish we had it 20 years back. Something like, I'm sure there was, but you know, we didn't know. So about my journey, 10 years back, I was already 10 years into a corporate world, doing completely beautifully well. And that's when, I delivered a baby. I realized that no matter how many hours of good work you put in, you are as good as how many hours you stay in the office, or how many, as, your performance doesn't count. That day I realized that, corporate India till date is not built to, service the need of a working mom. A mom who can actually, run a nation, but she cannot be a part of a company because she cannot work as many hours at work as a man. That's when Media Moments was born. Media Moments was, just a freelance thought, never thought that it will become the size it has become. And I think that journey started with just a woman in Aditya Birla fashion who said, you know what, I don't care about your case studies, credentials, I'll give you business, take all the business, take all 7, 8 brands, run with it. And it's just not about a woman. A guy who was, starting Myntra.com said, you know what, take the business, you run it, I'm sure you will do good. That's how the journey started. Today, it's been 10 years. We work with so many startups, so many global brands. But one thing always remains in my, thought that how can we empower and enable everybody, not just a woman, everybody who needs help, who needs support. I guess, somebody told me that if you work with all your heart, with all your love, with all your passion, your work becomes a prayer. Yeah, so I think that prayer has become the company we are today. This year, actually last year, we launched another platform. It's a women's fashion platform. The idea is that, we empower and enable a lot of beauty fashion businesses to be part of the global platform. It's not about a guy, because I believe in gender neutrality, not equality, because, it's so much about, learning. It's a man who so many times helps a woman, and it's a woman who so many times helps a man. So, love this platform. Hopefully, Cafe Pop Shop, which is a fashion platform, enables and empowers women and businesses to do more in the country and on a global platform. Last bit, because we are women entrepreneurs and we are leaders in such big organizations, I would, request all women to start a policy of having no meetings after 5, so that women can wrap up and go home, and men too, so that they can, help their women and families to do something beyond work. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Poonam, for your heartfelt sharing. I think, yes, there is no force as powerful to reckon with as women entrepreneurs wanting to rise, because we do it in the gentlest, most heartfelt way possible. And that can shake the world. If I could invite Sucharita. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I'm having trouble with your name. Sucharita Ishwar. That's a beautiful name. It's an honor to have this lady amongst us. She has been a mentor for women entrepreneurs for a long, long, long time. She's founded the Catalyst for Women Entrepreneurship, a comprehensive platform enabling women to start up and scale up. It's a pleasure to hear from you. Welcoming you.
Well, good morning to all of you who braved the fog and the situation to be here with us. And each one of you have extraordinary stories, and I would love to hear them. I hope we have the time, because it's a small group this morning.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. I want to start by saying thank you to Women Economic Forum and to Harbeen in particular. I have met you some years ago when you were just starting out, and it's amazing the road you have traveled and the way you have grown and created this platform. So thank you for making this available to everyone, not just in India, but across the world. So I wanted to share my journey going back to the year 2000. That was when I had to take on a role which I had never imagined before, and that was as a single mother with 2 young children to bring up. And the thought was not, living happily ever after, but it was about roti, kapda, and makan. And it was, that is when I truly realized that economic freedom and empowerment is fundamental for any woman. And without that, we may talk of constitutional rights, cultural rights, social rights, but that is the bottom line. Without that, it is very difficult to assert one's rights. So that's when the seed of Catalyst for Women Entrepreneurship, which I founded and run today, was planted in my mind. I went on to create financial freedom for myself and had my 2 girls grow up and go out into the world. And today, it was 3 years ago that I founded CWE, as I call it for short. And in these 3 years, we have 3,000 women entrepreneurs across 16 states in India. And it's an online and offline platform to help any woman who wants to start a business. Or if she is an existing entrepreneur, to help them to scale up the business with access to finance, to markets, to technology, to networks that will help them, like yours, and business skills. And we have tied up with a number of organizations in India and globally to help make that happen. So that's where it is currently, the CWE platform. But I do believe that's just the tip of the iceberg. Because as of now, only 3 out of every 20 enterprises that exist in India are run by women. So, that's where we are. We are 50% of the population, but it's only very few women who are setting up and running their own enterprises. And if we just look at the US, for example, it's 8 out of 20 in comparison, 8 enterprises run by women. So we still have a long way to go. And so the people who have created this platform along with me, there are some awesome mentors, we call them catalysts, who are from industry and different backgrounds. We feel that in the next 5 years, it will be possible to create 50,000 women entrepreneurs like each of you here in this room. So that's the journey we have taken on. And I think we will need support, help, and be able to work with each one of you to make this happen. Firstly, to grow your business or start up one if you're thinking of one, and to contribute as mentors, as catalysts to the journey. So that's what I wanted to share about me and my journey so far. And the last thought I'd like to leave with all of you is that as we look at the violence and the chaos in the world around us, it's not just what we are seeing in India, but in every major country today, we are seeing a crisis. I do believe that it's time for us women to step out, to provide the leadership, to bring a whole different world into existence, which is peaceful, which is sustainable, which is in harmony with us and with the environment, with everybody in this every human and living being on earth. So let's do it. I think the time is right for us to step up and provide that leadership. And let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you for your beautiful words. Thank you for also highlighting that this is the time to really rise to the call of within, especially for the deep, divine, feminine voice that exists inside of us. It's time to listen to it because it's time to transform and nurture the world with that energy. So we celebrate you. Thank you. I'd like to invite Neha Singh Kamboj. She's the founder of Navida Brand Management. Welcoming you.
Good morning, everyone. It's awesome to be at a forum where I don't have to explain why women should be entrepreneurs in the first place. So it's brilliant that, I don't have to show how Bangladesh does very well when women are given mobile phones and for their businesses. So this is wonderful. Thank you so much, Harleen. It's wonderful to have you. Pammi, I don't know where she is, but we exchange emails. Thank you so much. And of course, to the Taj for hosting us. First of all, my co-panelists, it's wonderful and inspiring. I've just found I think 4 new sisters already, so it's brilliant. I was thinking before I came, and just as I was leaving, my father said, just remember, brevity is the soul of wit, so I promised to be very short in my speech, as it were. I think I already have 5 people for Shalini's and me venture, so that's wonderful. I'm a daughter of diplomats. I traveled all over the world. I was privy to a lot of cultures. I lived even in Pakistan, which everyone raises an eyebrow when they see me. I lived everywhere, and it was wonderful to see women of different cultures, especially when you're a young girl and you're very impressionable. And wherever I was, whichever country I was in, whether it was Scandinavia, Europe, certain parts of Europe, Asia, there was always a sense that maybe women are just being held back at certain points, whether she's working in a corporate, whether she was my school teacher, whether she was someone who was helping us clean our home. There was always something that I felt was holding women back. Today, when I see that Finland has an all-women government, I think it's amazing that we've come very far from where we are right now. My story is not too different from Ms. Ishwar's. I think when you're in a moment of crisis, you try to think what you can do. I am now a single mother of 2 children. And this year when I thought about what I could do, what I could give back towards what I had done, so that's when Navida came. Navida is Neha, Vivan, and Divyani, who are my 2 children. And that is the only reason that I have that name, is probably because I thought that if there's something that I'm good at, it's at speaking to people. I love talking to people. Eventually, you'll find that out about me. And when you talk and have conversations, ideas flow. Ideas flow, then you realize what you want to do. I've actually worked with Tripti, so it's wonderful that we've done an event together. And you meet like-minded people, but what's most important is you meet women who are so amazing at what they do and have so much to offer. If we could just kind of compromise on certain things, as timings and trying to figure out what works for each other in every situation, it makes so much more sense to me. The 5 o'clock rule makes a lot of sense to me because we all want to be with our children. What's most important, what I've learned is, as an entrepreneur right now, you're going to hear a lot of stuff. You're going to hear, oh, you're a woman, they're going to make a fool out of you, you're not even from here, they'll make sure that you're not going to do well, someone's going to fleece you. There are a billion ways of people putting you down. It's really up to you, and you need to be a little foolish, a little headstrong, and a little stubborn in, in what you want to do in life, and that works out very well. I luckily have all those 3, and it's helped in kind of going ahead and doing things without having to give explanations to a lot of people, because once you do something, and it starts looking good, suddenly those very same, we knew you had it in you. We knew you could do it. And it is amazing how this year I have seen that whole transformation. So that was very exciting to see. But I think what's most important is at the end of the day, as women, we really do need to support our fellow entrepreneurs. It doesn't have to be something you have to spend on or buy their produce or whatever. It is most important to just even, if you've used a product or if you like someone or if you think they're doing something great, just write about them. Social media is amazing. I wrote about a certain lady who had a body butter and worked very well for my child. As soon as I wrote it, within 20 minutes, she had 30 orders. So if you have that kind of influence, use it. It works very well. So it doesn't have to be some grand scheme economically, from an economic, and I am an economics honors student, but it doesn't have to be some really amazing graph with a PowerPoint presentation. It's the simple things that you can do. And what I've learned most importantly throughout my entire journey is that it's very important to invest in relationships, which you can, in relationships, to go ahead and grow. So if you invest in certain people that you feel have helped you, and you can go ahead and invest in the time, and it's just about time and love and care, it works very well. And I think that is what has got me so far in just a year. It's because of relationships that I've had with people, and that is really what it is. So it's not it's not how much you make, it's not what car you drive, it's the people that you're surrounded with. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity, and as you didn't realize, I was supremely nervous. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Neha. That was quite a journey. Thank you for inspiring us to be foolish, bullheaded, obstinate. We're here for you. But I think that's what it takes. I mean, that's the really on-ground reality. And then later they turn around and say, yeah, you did it. Thank you for that. If I could invite our last speaker for this session, Sheetal Badani. Welcoming Sheetal, the founder of Loop Hoop.
So I've prepared a very formal speech on the topic, Women Uplifting and Uniting the World Through Entrepreneurship and Drive. Before that, I would just want to give a small introduction about myself. So as one of my fellow speakers said, that she became entrepreneur by accident. It was accidentally. But then, I didn't become an entrepreneur accidentally. It's since the childhood, it's been imbibed in me. So I belong to a very royal family of Jharkhand, and my family is called Mica Kings. So we had huge mines. We used to dig out these micas. And my 3 generation has invested their effort in developing this business. But eventually, it couldn't take off. So after a couple of almost running the business for 80, 90 years, we had to shut down everything because of many reasons. So it was like due to government interventions. They were trying to save the forest, and China came in with a lot of their substitutes. So my family was not able to run this business. So 80s and 90s saw the shutdown of this royal business. It was recalled by my grandparents and parents that once upon a time, our filing used to be more than Tatas and Birlas. So I belong to that kind of family. And I always used to ask my dad that why we are shutting down the business, why we cannot run it anymore. And he was like, we have called people from IIMs and XLRI to revive everything, but we couldn't do it. So that was always in my heart. And, that I have to bring my family, who has a lineage and who have been called, our growth story was like from rugs to riches, then to rugs. So this always hit my mind. I became a banker. I did my MBA and I became a banker, and I did my corporate journey for almost 9 years. And it was not satisfying me. I still wanted to become an entrepreneur and do something, which to regain reputation for my family. So here I am. I have started a company called Loop Hoop. Loop Hoop is all about looping the weavers in. So we try to loop in all the weavers and artisans, pan-India, and we try to resell their products through our e-commerce platforms. That is about me. Now I'll just detail about the topic. From the Center for International Enterprise to the Harvard Business Review, business experts have agreed for several years that the world needs to support the development of women entrepreneurs. Studies are showing that when women gain access to their own financial freedom, they are lifted out of poverty, children being to become healthier, and the overall economic status of a country improves. The recent Global Entrepreneurship Mentor found 126 million women starting or running businesses and 98 million operating established businesses. That's 224 million women impacting the global economy. And this survey counts only 67 of the 188 countries recognized by the World Bank. Women bring a different set of perspective to problem solving that enhance the quality of solution. Women bring a unique set of issues and experiences that can help in decision making, enhancing the quality of decision. Let's take a look at many of the co-occurring factors that create an increasing need of more women entrepreneurs in the global marketplace. The first being economic growth. The influx of more women into the workforce has led to the significant economic growth and productivity. While more women have sought and got employment in greater numbers, their participation as entrepreneurs is still very less. Second being narrowing gender gap. Even after decades of efforts towards making women equal with men socially and economically, the gap between them remains large. Women entrepreneurs inspire other women to start businesses. This leads to more job creation for women, which ultimately helps in reducing the gender gap in the workforce. Narrowing the gender gap in employment will increase global income per person by as much as 20% by 2030. Third being company culture and safety at workplace. Creating and preserving a strong and positive company culture is the prerequisite for the growth and long-term success of any company. Studies show that women-owned firms tend to have better company culture, high values and transparency. They tend to have better employee relationships horizontally as well as vertically. The last point is social change. In low GDP countries, entrepreneurship can provide a way out of poverty for women faced with few other opportunities. Women entrepreneurship can lead to a tremendous social change, making women financially empowered and independent. That can increase levels of confidence and happiness in women, as the satisfaction of achievement and self-sufficiency can boost their self-esteem and overall well-being. According to World Economic Forum Gender Gap Report, the US has experienced 11% growth over the past 40 years as a direct result of the increased participation of women, which has translated into $3.5 trillion. Investing in women also promotes economic and social development, and women reinvest in the communities and home. In both developed and developing economies, saving rise and spending shift towards food, health, and education as women gain power over household income. Lastly, I would like to state, in the words of former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, empowering women is a prerequisite for creating a good nation. When women are empowered, society with stability is assured. Empowerment of women is essential as the thoughts and the value system lead to the development of a good family, good society, and ultimately a good nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sheetal, for sharing some of those astounding stats. Goes to prove that women are the real architects of economy, of society. And each one of you have been an astounding celebration of that very fact. Thank you for sharing your vibrant individual and collective journeys. I think Harbeen has a question for you. Do you, Harbeen? Yeah, we're going to close this session just with, I think so. Yeah.
I want to thank the early birds who are in the room and the very first panel. I was going to say the opening batsmen or the batswomen, on whom a lot of expectations are pinned to set the tone. So I'll just take a seat next to Sucharita and have a question for the closing of this session, and would like each one of you to come in on that. And I'll take up where, Neha, you said that while you were growing up, you felt a lot of women, whatever they were doing, whether it was across the socio-economic strata, whether it was my teacher, whether it was somebody working, whether a lady who's working in my house to help me, everyone, basically, whether you're from whichever school, whichever college, wherever you are from, you're still held back, right? So since this session is about uniting more and more women through leadership, through entrepreneurship, each one of you is working to bring in more and more women, and half of the world is us. So what is holding us back needs to be really sort of figured out, addressed, so that we can unleash all that force into the economic and social mainstream. And like Sucharita said, we need to step up. So we need to figure out what's holding us back from each of your perspectives, so that we can address those and be able to step up that much more. So maybe I'll start on my left-hand side with Poonam. What do you think, according to you, in your experience, what is it that you see is holding a woman back? It could be just one reason that you have. Like, I don't want like treatises from you, maybe just whatever in your experience, somebody specific you have in mind. What was holding her back rather than in general women back? Yeah.
You know, I have heard and I believe that a lot of times when we say, you know, my subconscious mind says something to me, we don't believe in it. A lot of times the care provider, which is typically our moms, give us the first input to who we are and what we believe of ourselves. And that becomes our inner voice, which keeps telling us whether we are good enough or not, whether we can do it or not. I think that my inner voice was my mom, because every day she would wake up and she would tell me, "You're beautiful, you can just do anything." And And I think that became my inner voice. So, whenever I see people, whenever I see my 12-year-old girl, I tell her that, I wish that, everybody has that person or that community or that, army of believers who become their inner voice. Wow. So to sum it up, I believe the inner voice which can tell you that, everything which you need is within you. Beautiful. You build the world.
Thank
so,
you.
Yeah.
It was what Vanessa was saying yesterday, Vanessa Serrano from Mexico yesterday. We had this wonderful keynote with her, and she says this inner dialogue that you have with yourself all the time, which is influenced by those 5 people around you who believe in you or don't believe in you, sort of becomes you, and taking control of that space, that inner dialogue that you have, and also watching it consciously and shifting it to a more positive tone as and when you get the opportunity, because that is what you depend on at the end of the day. Tripti?
So I agree to what she said, inner voice. So I will add on the belief. So if you have to believe in yourself, nothing can stop you. In 2012, when I started with the matrimony for my community, there were people who were like, you don't have to do it. Why are you doing it? And why do we have to help people for matrimony? Because we still believe in our community about arranged marriages and how it works. The essence of 2 families getting together. It's not about 2 people. So there were many red flags against me that she's doing this. And trust you me, it was not for the money. I still don't take money for that. It is my way to help my community. But it was my husband who stood and said, if you think it is going to help you connect not just with the families, but help one couple walk on that road of love and affection. Today, that forum, Gachor, is a very well-known name within the community. And people have that trust and faith. And when I started this, now I see 7, 8 years down the line, a lot of people are working on those same topic or on same business. So it's the belief they also have in them that they can do what they think is right. And coming from a community which is still very conservative, people call me that you are a torchbearer. So it's very interesting that even hearing a lot of no's, you still have that yes to go ahead.
Thank you, Tripti. You pointed out 2 things, self-belief and support. Whether it's the support of your partner, which is actually paramount, or the support, or having a support system, which is what we're talking about, creating a sisterhood and having, beyond the sisterhood as well, an ecosystem of support. So those are two very important things. And I think we'll go back to the pig-headed and the, bull-headed and and the obstinate. And also remember Sharon Lowen, she was here with us yesterday. She's a classical artist. And she spoke about being naive, and you spoke about being foolish, right? So I think those are underestimated words. Let's reclaim them. So somebody calls you foolish and naive that time, tell them, wow, that's my strength. I don't look at the obstacles. I'm so foolish. Yes. Yeah, I absolutely. It's French philosopher Hélène Cixous. I studied in Paris, and she used to write about the happiness of myopia, because you can't see. You're happy. So so I have a little number in my eyes sometimes, and in my conferences I take off my spectacles. I say I want to be happy. So the less I see, maybe I'll just be in my own blissful little bubble. So it makes life easier. You don't have to deal with everything. You can just sort of be myopic about things.
So I'll just take it from, you said happiness of myopia. I struggled for 2 years to get a development partner to build andwemet.com. It was tough. And my partner, I'm talking about the men in my life, my friends, they all said, why are you doing this? Give it up. But it just like I knew what I could see, right? Yeah. And I did not give up because I believed in myself. I was told things like, you don't need money. It's not, I'm sure none of us are doing it. Money doesn't come. Being an entrepreneur, there is no money. All right? So it's like, I just know that I am trying to build something which will impact the world. Coming back to women, I think, women are multitaskers. Unfortunately, men are not. And that's how we are built, and that's absolutely okay. But, women are always living in guilt, all right? They are always looking to be perfect, because that's how, at least our generation, we've seen our mums. I mean, my mom has not retired even today. My father was from the armed forces, and he retired, and my mom still enters the kitchen. Is what I'm just saying is she was a homemaker, she is a homemaker, she will always stay a homemaker.
She was a working woman, she is a working woman, and will always stay a working woman.
Correct, perfect, yeah. She would never retire, but I know that the kind of perfection she wants, which tires you, and I realized I also became something like her. And I wanted to be perfect at the home front, wanted to be perfect at work front. It is not so. We need to let go. If you are mums of children, it's okay if your child had Maggie. I know it's not healthy. It is absolutely okay. You're breathing this air, right? How does a Maggie make a difference? So I'm just saying is, don't be guilty. Let go of things. It takes time for things to be built. So, and also, it'll be fantastic if women support women. And it's absolutely okay to have a mother-in-law and sister-in-law, and you don't get along with them. But then try and be more positive and see what's positive about them. Let's not get into this. I'm telling you, it'll take time for your mom-in-law or your sister-in-law to like you, but they will eventually if you are positive. Seriously. So that's how I think. Yeah.
Bravo. So the few superpowers you shared with us, of course, the first one, be positive. I always say positivity is a superpower. It can cut through anything. So really it's like that sharp axe that'll go, you just won't see the problems, and you go with that superpower of positivity, but also letting go of the guilt, like you said, that holds us back, and the little poison of perfection, because it's sort of, it just gives so much gravity to everything, and we want to be a perfect mom. We want to be perfect in everything that we do. And I remember at some conference we were talking about that. It's okay to be a bad mom and have your child have Maggie. It's fine. So thank you so much for that, Sucharita.
Well, I'm going to be a little contrarian. Before starting this platform, CWE, we did a study because we said, okay, let's see what the ecosystem currently is. And so we interviewed male and female entrepreneurs, investors, government policymakers, banks and financial institutions, and business associations like TIE, etc. And what all of them came out with was that women faced particular problems, women entrepreneurs, when they are looking at doing business, faced particular challenges when it came to finance, to finding markets, marketing. They were not using technology. Like, they didn't even have a business email ID or a basic website. And today you don't exist in the world unless you have a website. They were not confident about their business skills. And they were not members or part of networks which will help them. Like, a man starting out a business will immediately join TIE or CII or whatever. There are so many associations, right? But women do their work, they go home to look after the family. And she believes that it's her primary responsibility to look after the family, the children, and see that they are not fed Maggi noodles. And all their needs are taken care of, and they grow up as good human beings, and it's their total responsibility. And what we keep discussing with them is that it's not just you. There are two parents, typically, in a family. You have a support structure and network of your family, extended friends and family, etc. So if you are wanting to do something, and it's perfectly fine if you want to be a homemaker and do a great job of that, but if you want to step out and do a business, even if you start up from home, it's important for you to create a supportive infrastructure around you, a network. And nobody is going to come and do that for you. It's up to you to go out and ask for the support, the help that you need. And it's okay if you are not at home to cook that hot meal for your child when he comes home from school. It's okay if you have somebody who's there at home to do that. And you're not a bad mom. So, and it's also a recognition of the centuries of conditioning that each woman, not just in India, across the world goes through. And the message that we have been given is, your primary role is in the home. After that, if you have time, then maybe you can do something, but this is your main job, and don't forget it. So that's something which we start out, one of our mentors and catalysts is a guy called Vijay Ladha, who mentors he has mentored, I think, thousands of women in business till now. So he asks them one very interesting question, which I found very weird when I heard it first time. He would say, okay, this business, is it going to get you money for bread and butter, or is it money for jam? And so what I understood was that he's asking, is this a hobby or is this a business? Because if it's a hobby, theek hai, chalo, do it in your spare time. And he would say, don't come to me and waste my time. But if it's a business, then it's a whole different story. And this same conditioning we found flowed into every other challenge, those 5 challenges I mentioned earlier. Women said, oh, I have a problem with getting finance. My family does not support, etc., which is true. But even as she's got a big order, and she needs a working capital loan, she is so hesitant to even consider it. And she would even think of letting go the order because she does not have the money to service that.
Right.
So, you know, these are the kind of challenges that we faced. And to underline what some of you said, we have women in our network who are running successful businesses for 5 years, 7 years. But she says, when we ask her, what was your turnover last year? She said, I have to ask my CA. Or, I'm really bad in sales and marketing. Hey, you're running your business, obviously you're doing good there. Why not recognize it and acknowledge yourself for who you are? And that's really what we have to become very conscious about and do it.
I think you really underlined a very, very important missing piece. Like we had 2 sessions yesterday on startup finance, and we were talking a lot about this. You're right, you know, we are ill at ease when it comes to the numbers and the skills required, which is, you know, the blood of the business is the money. And if you need an OD, you need working capital, whatever you need to do. So upgrading our business skills and owning the fact that we don't know and reaching out and having that self-motivation to go out, sign up for an online course, reach out to a mentor, talk to somebody who's done a business and become comfortable yes. I think that applies to me as well, by the way. I'm taking that home for myself too, getting more comfortable with talking about the numbers. Money. And if it's your business, you better know your balance sheets and your turnovers. So I think it's very, very important to start having comfortable conversations around that as well, which is the tangible part of business as well. Neha?
Last thing, I want to say is that if you say you are in business, it is to make money. Let's acknowledge it, let's recognize it, let's declare it. It is about money.
I think what worked for me was I've always tried to take advantage of opportunities, however big and small. When I quit my corporate career because I had back-to-back babies, and there was this opportunity where I got to be an editor for Baby Center. Baby Center India is the #1 baby parenting site of the country. And I took that opportunity, even though it was 1/4 of what I was making previously. But it was a job. It was someone who was willing to pay me despite the fact that I was doing conference calls in my pajamas while feeding my child. So that was, so that was wonderful. And within 2 months, because I was dedicated, they made me the assistant editor for all of India. So I think no opportunity is big and small, and that is where we sometimes, you know, even as women, we're like, oh, you know, I did that, I don't think I can go down to this. Or, you know, I've worked in such prestigious places, really do I want to do this? Or my profile was such. And so I think it's very important that whatever opportunities come your way, give them a shot, because you never know when it's going to be useful. I studied in Switzerland as well. So I studied in Geneva, and French is my second language. Over the weekend, I tutored kids in French, because it's awesome, because the kids teach you brilliant lingo that makes you feel you're really cool. And it's a skill that I had that I never used, and it works wonders, because it's something that I want to do. And I've always felt that that is what my USP as a person has been, is to use any opportunity and to somehow make it work to my advantage. Also echoing the fact that women traditionally don't seem to take as many risks as men, which bothers me somehow, because I feel if there's ever that I'm going to bet my money on is a woman, because she's eventually going to make sure I get my money back. So no matter what she does. So those are things that if we could work on, is probably those 2 things that I would think, that there's no opportunity which is too small, and maybe eventually think about taking risks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. I always believe in, I'll just quote an example from a movie जहाँ पर आमिर खान ने बोला था, you know, that Dangal movie, and he said कि जब तुम डूबोगे तो निकालने वाला कोई नहीं होगा, तुमको खुद से ऊपर निकलना है. So I always believe in this, and since the time I've seen that movie, मैं हमेशा से उस चीज़ को ध्यान में रखती हूँ, and I always feel that मैं डूब रही हूँ और मुझे निकालने वाला कोई नहीं है, मुझे खुद से वहाँ से निकलना है. So, and I don't, take myself back when I have to take risk. Business is all about taking risk and exploring. जब तक आप उस चीज़ को feel खुद नहीं करोगे, you will never realize that what will work for you and what will not work for you. Each businesses are different, each business concept is different, each client is different. So you have to take that risk, take that extra step to understand. So when I discuss with my husband also at home that, this is what has happened, and when he tries to give me all the gyans, I'm so sorry, I don't take it. And he now just realizes that, okay, I'm just here to listen you, and, तुम बोलती जाओ, मैं सुन रहा हूँ, types होता है अब. So I really feel that you are in the business and you understand your business better. So, always believe in yourself. Another thing which I always keep in mind is there was a fellow entrepreneur, we met in one similar kind of networking event, and she was wearing a sari and her blouse hook from behind got opened when she moved on the stage. So it had two hooks and one got opened, and then when she came down from the stage, I just went to her and said that, ma'am, your one hook got opened. And she was like, oh, really? Am I looking more sexier? So I really like the way she handled that situation. So I always believe in, handling a situation in similar manner. Yeah,
Thank you so much. I think we have heard great things from the left side of the panel. Very quick, we are running out of time.
Very quick. If you've attended events where men are talking, they never talk from the heart. And all the women, there's no data talk. It's actually a talk from the heart.
Thank you. It was absolutely fantastic to have you all on this opening panel. We heard from the left side a lot of yin aspects about what's holding us back, the inner dialogue, the mental beliefs. And on the right side, we had a lot of yang talk about opportunity and risk-taking and ambition and taking ownership and responsibility, exploring. Both of these go into making a wholesome entrepreneurial life. For men, for women, equally. There's no difference out there. Thank you so much for an amazing panel this morning. Mansi, we would like to felicitate our panelists, please.
Thank you, Arvind. Please. If I could call upon Tripti Singh Rathore to accept her award as an exceptional woman of excellence. Calling upon Shalini Singh to accept her honor and award as an exceptional woman of excellence at the Women Economic Forum in Gurugram 2019. Poonam Prahlad, we congratulate you for this honor. Charita Ishwar, it's an honor to honor you at the Women Economic Forum as an exceptional woman of excellence. Neha Singh Kamboj, please accept this honor on behalf of the All Ladies League and the Women Economic Forum. Sheetal Badani, you are indeed an exceptional woman of excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, I request you to put your thumbs up in the air. And hear it for these amazing ladies. Ladies, please come up to the front. I can't hear anything at all. Yes, can you make some hooting sounds? Woo! Bouts look nice on you. Thank you. That was wonderful. You're absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. 2, Session 2, Women Economic Forum, Gurugram 2019. How was this year for you? How are you planning to end this year? What are your plans? We are your plan. We are your plan. So this is going to now be a celebration. So I need us to make a lot of noise. Should we stand for a moment? Should we go into a big group hug? Can we hold hands? Can you reach out to the people on your right and left and make this beautiful chain of sisterhood to remind ourselves that this is what we're here for. Brotherhood! Brothers! Welcome, brothers. Don't feel left out. We love you. There we go. Can we connect these chains? Let no link be unlinked. Find the links. Find the links. There we go. Yes, turn around. There we go. Work it out, girls. Come on. There we go. Beautiful. Can you leave the hands and turn to your right or left and give a big warm hug to your new sister? To your left. To your left, a big warm hug. And let me tell you, a hug only counts if it's 10 seconds or longer. Under 10 seconds, it's redundant. You have to do it again. We are family. Do you know this is our theme song? Yes. Hands up in the air.
Just like birds of a feather, I won't tell no lie. All of the people around us, they say, can they be that close? Just let me state for the record, we're giving love in a family dose. We are family. Hey, I got all my sisters with me.
Closer to the stage, quickly. I hope you're not in your own chair. We need to re-energize. Shake it up, shake it up. Because we're movers and shakers. We're talking about something so deeply close to our hearts, and something that's a conversation that only women have. We're talking about consciousness in business. We're talking about CEOs operating from a place of consciousness. A beautiful conversation up ahead for you, and it's my pleasure to welcome Susan Nicholas. Susan Nicholas, coming from the USA, from the Human Consciousness Consortium and susannicholas.org. It's an honor to have you all the way to India. Is this your first time here, Susan? Oh, wow, it's an honor. Thank you for making this effort. And you came this morning? Last night. Friday morning. Wow. Thank you. It means the world that you could be here. Thank you. Thank you. We can't wait to hear from you. Maisha Lubaba. Maisha, coming from Bangladesh. Almost didn't recognize you in that beautiful sari. She's the Chief Executive Officer at Prativa, doing incredible work in uplifting the marginalized art forms and people of her country. So proud to see you on this panel. Soumya Arun. Welcoming Soumya, the founder of ACAD's Human Resource.